Machine, so this is an interesting choice. It's a very nice map for macro play. I'll talk about it more in the game, which we are now in. So, bottom right spawn location, Rifkin, we have none other than EG.Machine spawning as the pink Zerg.
And his opponent, in the lower left corner of the map, it's the green Terran, it's Empire.Beastyqt, coming up with a 1-0 early victory in this best of 7 series.
I have to say, Rifkin, I like this choice of map from Machine because, as we've said countless times already, Zerg is strongest in the late game right now. So this is a very nice map for late game play. It's a very nice map for macro-oriented play, and it's also not the best map for 2-base all-ins because the walk distance is so long. It's a 2-player map, so it's a little bit deceiving in that way. It seems, I mean, some people sort of like, I mean, some people just sort of identify 2-player maps with smaller maps, but this is actually quite a large map, especially the rush distance. You can't just walk across. You have to sort of go around that archway by that first watchtower, and it takes quite a while to get your opponent's base. So I think after losing to that 2-base all-in that Beastie sort of threw out there in the last game, this is sort of Machine reacting to that, saying, you know what, I'm not going to let you have such an easy time in this game, so we'll see what he has planned. I would not be surprised to see him just try to macro up the same way he did in the last game.
Well, the thing that's really cool about this map that I like too, whether you're, depending on who you are, like these 2 watchtowers are positioned so perfectly for the ground forces. Like the map is choked in such a way with the 2 vision points, you can't really sneakily move across the map. And with all the dead space for the air in the middle of the lower part of the map, it's not exactly easy to get past Zerg, who's going to have floating overlords all over the place. So, I mean, Machine, if he can definitely get the scouting upper hand, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, that is very true indeed. And this is another map, speaking of all that dead space, drop play, especially if Beastie wants to go for the more mech stompy style of play, drop play is definitely viable with this. Medevac drops, Hellbat drops, even if he goes bio drops. So actually I'd be very surprised to see Beastie go bio just because mech is, it's the stronger thing right now, and bio is actually pretty weak against Zerg at the moment.
What is a little bit funny, because if you think on it, for those who don't know, like a big change to like a lot of the mech stuff was they wanted more viable versus Protoss, and I don't know that a lot of the developers considered just how strong it would make it against the other matchups as well, because it is 100% definitely more viable versus Protoss now. But as we saw last game, it's also very strong versus Zerg.
The thing is, like, late game mech, I'm not even sure. I haven't seen that many late game TVPs just because they all seem to sort of like end pretty quickly. But the thing is, whenever I have seen a late game TVP game, mech is not really that viable in the late game. It's viable in the mid game because these 2-base plays are just insanely strong. But the big thing about TVP right now is that Sky Protoss as well is very, very difficult to deal with as a Terran player, and you really need those ghosts out. You need those bio units as well as just, you need a powerhouse air army as well as those ghosts, and mech doesn't really deal with the late game so much, so it puts Terran in a pretty tough position in that matchup. But this is TVZ, so we will see what exactly Beastie opts for this game round. He's on 2 gas already, and nearing up to 100 gas. I would not be surprised to see that factory go down as soon as he has that.
I gotta say, it's something that's kind of... Okay, it's questionable how effective it is in Wings of Liberty, but something that we've definitely seen a lot of Zerg players utilizing more against players that are meching is Mutalisks. They're very strong and very good and very fast, and with that new HP regeneration, they do quite a bit of damage fast. And if BC doesn't have more than like 1 or 2 Thors, he's gonna find himself in a lot of trouble if Machine decides to take that route. Because again, this is a map that kind of, it really begs for either incredible late game play or just straight up air.
Yeah, I haven't seen any Terran players go for like any heavy Sky sort of composition versus Zerg recently. Doesn't look like we'll be seeing that out of Beastie just yet anyway, since he does have that second factory on the way.
I feel a little bit like, okay, the changes to the Ravens were actually pretty amazing, but overall it feels like the Terran air was kind of, it was left lackluster. Because, I mean, the Zerg got these cool upgrades. They got the Vipers even. They got Mutalisks with crazy regen now. Protoss, you know, you've got the Tempest, the Oracles, better and new Void Rays. Carriers are suddenly useful again. Whereas Terran's just kind of like, oh, well, you know what? It wasn't bad. Let's not change it. And because of that, nothing's really changed.
That's very true. When you have to play, if people do play Sky Terran, it's very, very much the same way as it was done in Wings. That's what I'm looking for. But actually,
for Sky Terran,
we are seeing a second reactor on the way up now for BC, so it's going to be going double reactor factory. That doesn't only mean Hellions, of course. That can also mean Widow Mine production. It'd be interesting to see if he opts for that at all. But so far, it is only going to be Hellions.
Well, let's talk about the front of Machine's base here real quick. You guys will notice first off that this is a huge ramp. This is not the easiest thing to choke off. It is taking him 3 buildings, and it's going to take him a couple queens just to be able to hold this off versus Hellions. So, I mean, a lot of the new terrain in this game, we got Hellions attacking the third right now, they're going to want to be able to get into Machine's natural, but if he puts queens here, he should be able to hold that off pretty easily. Whereas last game, you know, even though it's the smaller choke of the ramp on Daybreak, he still kind of, those Hellions were a bit problematic.
This is really cool, Rifkin. We're seeing Stimpack out of Beastie. Looks like he doesn't want to go super factory heavy this game, wants to throw in at least some bio. And looking over at Machine's side of the map, though, he's doing a really nice job spreading this creep so far. Beastie will be able to deny this this one creep tumor at least, but
4 Hellions at a
looking very creeped
time.
up.
4 Hellions at a time is a lot of Hellions.
I'm interested to see what he does with this, though. He may go for just a really big 2 factory reactor Hellion push just by itself, or he may just sort of try to back this up with some bio. He is going 4 racks behind this. I'm very interested to see what this actually leads to. I would kind of like to see him go Marines with Hellbats, just because I haven't seen that yet. But
That'd be interesting, I guess. It would definitely keep your anti-air capabilities. Okay, we got a couple Roaches on the field, but again, I feel like Machine's in the same situation where he just doesn't have enough units. And these Hellions are a little absurd. Oh my goodness, the wall Machine made was not properly blocked off, and now he's in a lot of trouble.
this is going to hurt a lot, Rifkin. Oh, they're lining up in the main as well. Main drones going down left, right, and center. Natural mineral line gutted almost completely at this point. So many drones are going down. There's so many Hellions in here that it's really hard to deal with despite the Roach numbers.
Well, I mean, Machine is cleaning this up, but he has lost 34 workers at this point. Now, yeah, as a Zerg player, you can get those drones back real quick, but that's still a lot of downtime, which means Beastie's going to be able to just kind of snowball his army.
I don't even know if he can get these workers back very quick at all, Rifkin, since he's down to 15.
Oh, dear.
This is going to hurt. I think this is over, yeah. That's game.